Mephibosheth was just a child when his life changed forever. He was the son of Jonathan, the beloved friend of David, and the grandson of King Saul. As a member of the royal family, he was born into privilege and a future filled with promise. But everything crumbled in a single day. News came from the battlefield: Saul and Jonathan had been killed. The mighty king and his son had fallen in battle against the Philistines. With their deaths, the kingdom was thrown into chaos. In those times, when a new ruler took the throne, it was common for the previous king's family to be killed to prevent any claims to power. Mephibosheth's nurse, fearing for his life, scooped him up and fled. In her haste, she stumbled, and the young boy fell hard. The accident left him permanently crippled in both feet. His life of royalty was gone. Now he was a disabled orphan, living in hiding, far from the palace he was once destined to inherit. Years passed. David had become king, just as God had promised. He had fought many battles, secured his kingdom, and ruled with justice. But one day, he remembered his dear friend Jonathan and the covenant they had made. Jonathan had been more than a friend. He had been like a brother. They had promised to always show kindness to each other's families. David asked his servants, "Is there anyone left from Saul's house to whom I can show kindness for Jonathan's sake?" A man named Ziba, who had once served Saul's household, stepped forward. "There is still a son of Jonathan," he said, "but he is crippled in both feet." David's heart must have ached at the thought of Jonathan's son living in obscurity. Without hesitation, he ordered that Mephibosheth be brought to him. When Mephibosheth was summoned to the palace, he must have been terrified. He had lived in hiding, likely believing that if David ever found him, it would mean death. Now, standing before the king, he bowed low and said, "I am your servant." But David's response was not what he expected. "Do not be afraid," David said gently, "for I will surely show you kindness for the sake of your father Jonathan. I will restore to you all the land that belonged to your grandfather Saul, and you will always eat at my table." Mephibosheth was stunned. He had expected judgment but was given grace. He had lived in fear but was welcomed with love. In disbelief, he asked, "What is your servant, that you should notice a dead dog like me?" But David saw more than a crippled man in exile. He saw the son of his dearest friend, a life that still had value, a man worthy of honor. From that day on, Mephibosheth lived in Jerusalem and dined at the king's table, like one of David's own sons. His story is a powerful picture of God's grace. Like Mephibosheth, we are broken and undeserving, yet God invites us to sit at his table, not because of anything we have done, but because of his great love. It is a story of kindness, redemption, and a king who keeps his promises.